Hi there, welcome back to another Crypto Dave video. It's Friday, which means another crypto interest rates and news update. It's the 11th of September 2020 today, and as always we'll start by having a look at any new coins or changes to interest rates, and I've made a couple of changes to the Google Sheet here. Firstly, EOS, I've changed that kind of down a little bit, so EOS now similar to Cardano. It's dropped a little bit from where it was before. I don't know if that was in the last week or so, or if I just overlooked that when it was first done. And also Decentraland, so this has been added to the platform, I think quite a recent addition, just in the last week or so, and again quite a low pay-in staking coin, between 0.5 and 2%, between the flexible and 3-month terms for people who don't have 10,000 CRO or more, and that seems to be sort of par for the course. A couple of them are a little bit higher than that, so Elrond, EOS and Cardano go up to 3.5%, but there's a lot of them that are 0.5, 1 and 2%. So you've got Binance, Basic Attention Token, Chainlink, Maker, a few more as well. We've got VeChain, Engine, and then some of the newer ones, so Sela and Decentraland. So a little bit kind of disappointing with the kind of low rates, but always nice to see new coins added to the platforms. As always, if you do see any errors, please leave me a comment, or you can email me if you scroll down to the bottom of the sheet, cryptodaveuk@gmail.com. The email address is always at the bottom of the sheet there. Now moving on quickly to the token prices, the big news I suppose is the really big increase in the price of Celsius over the last 7 days, up over 40%, which is fantastic news. Now Celsius has had a tough few weeks. A lot of this I believe was down to one of the early investors, or basically selling off a load of kind of tokens, and that took a few weeks. And Celsius had 2 or 3 kind of really poor weeks, and then obviously everything over the last week has had a bit of a rough ride with the kind of with the downturn in the kind of price of crypto in general. But Celsius network, fantastic. It's up about 16% just today, up over 40% over the last 7 days, which is great. Nexo, again, just nothing really happening with Nexo at the moment. It had a little bit of a pump before the ex-dividend date, and then it's just been absolutely tanking. I think a lot of people that maybe bought in to benefit from the dividends and then just held onto the token rather than getting rid of it are probably kind of kicking themselves a little bit now, because it has dropped substantially over the last kind of couple of months, and no real kind of gains over the last week, up 1.5%, but down 1.5% over the last 24 hours. So really kind of up and down, but pretty flat overall. Cryptocom, it's had a little pump today. It's up 3% over the last 7 days. So again, nothing like the kind of gains that it was making a while ago. And to be honest, I don't anticipate it making huge gains for the foreseeable future, and certainly not the kind of 100% gains it made over the last kind of couple of months. I think it will track higher with the crypto markets in general, but I don't expect it to be exploding 2x in, 3x in price compared to the other coins, or compared to Bitcoin. And then moving over to some of the news, I suppose. The big news is Celsius Network. So they announced this a few days ago, but they've basically rebranded their website. So they've got this new, quite sort of bright and kind of funky kind of look and feel to the website. Now, they go a completely different way to a company like kind of BlockFi. A company like BlockFi portray themselves very kind of serious, almost kind of like Wall Street-esque, whereas Celsius is all about kind of like, we're the sort of like, the crypto financial kind of services company for the individual. They have their big thing of like paying 80% of their kind of profits back to their users. And I think in some ways the website kind of reflects this. Now, when I first looked at it, I to be honest, I wasn't particularly keen. I thought it was a bit kind of garish. If you jump between the different sections here, you get these massive kind of images, kind of like sort of like fairly token kind of stock images that don't really mean anything. It's all very big, bright, kind of primary colors and stuff like that. But actually, when you delve a little deeper into the website, it's actually got some pretty decent information. So if you scroll past these sort of like initial kind of like sort of like flash screens almost, all the information is presented quite well. So we've got this, this is crypto on your terms, earn rewards, borrow cash, pay and transfer. And then there's a fair number of kind of like sort of sound bites and kind of snippets, but it's quite sort of apparent kind of what they do. Something I don't like, and I don't like this across all the platforms, is this, you can earn up to 22.4% APY. Now, the reality behind that is, I believe, 2 tokens. That's Matic and one other token, and only if you get paid out in CEL, if indeed you can be paid out in CEL because you're not in the US. And I think this is a bit disingenuous. Now, it's not just Celsius that do this. BlockFi, Cryptocom, Lead, and Nexo all kind of like quote kind of like headline kind of rates. And I think the issue behind this is that I think a lot of people go, oh God, I can earn 20% on my kind of Bitcoin, and then they sign up to the app, transfer it over, and they're earning in Celsius's case 4.5% or whatever it is. And I think it's almost a little bit. I think it's a little bit kind of sneaky in a way. I would far prefer them to say earn between whatever, or at least have a Bitcoin kind of rate. So it's like earn up to 6% on your Bitcoin and up to 22% on selected alts or something like that. But they all kind of do it. It's just maybe me being a little bit picky, but I'm not a massive fan of those kind of things. Apart from that, it's a pretty nice site. It goes through all the different bits they do. So you've got borrowing, earning, pay and transfer. And something I really liked on the earn page, again, I don't like these massive kind of like block images, but if you scroll down, there we have it, 22.4% annually up to, and then you have to get down into this page. Even this 6.13, that's only paid out if it's paid out in Celsius or if you're in the US, etc., etc. So it's not as clear as it should be. But something I really did like, if you scroll right to the bottom past all the meaningless kind of images, you've got the calculator, which they've always had, but then under that, the most useful bit right at the bottom, you've got the table. And what I really liked is that you have to choose where your location is. So for example, if you're international, you click this and it gives you all the rates for an international user. If you're in the US, you can click on this and then it gives you the US rates. So that I think is really useful because they do vary wildly between these different kind of jurisdictions. So that's something I think is really useful. I like the fact that everything's listed. You do have to kind of like delve to the bottom of the page to get the full list of tokens, but certainly better than Crypto.com, for example, who basically just ask you to check out their app to get the latest prices. So overall, I wasn't too keen initially, but I think it's actually probably a pretty decent kind of like revamp for them. I think it sort of ties into that narrative about they're for the little guy, they're not a kind of corporate kind of entity. So from that point of view, I think probably will work relatively well for them. And then other updates. So we've got good news for people that were swapped over from MCO to CRO. So if you have a card with Crypto.com, when they first swapped over, you needed like quite large amounts of CRO for each of the different tiers of card, and then within a day or two they dropped them substantially. So I think Ruby Steel was originally going to be 10,000 or 5,000 or something, then they dropped it to 1,000. Now the issue is that they locked up people's extra CRO. So initially it was 50 MCO for this card. Now 50 MCO was the equivalent of about 1,300 a CRO, and what happened is that that whole 1,300 was kind of locked up in the kind of app, and you couldn't get the 300 odd extra CRO that wasn't needed to be staked back. But they finally released that surplus CRO. Now if you have an exchange account, if you're eligible for the exchange, it will go into your exchange wallet for all other users. So if you don't have access to the exchange because in your jurisdiction it's not allowed, then it will go into your CRO wallet in the app. To be honest, I would have liked to just see it all been put in the app. They're pushing the exchange pretty heavily, but that's why obviously they're pushing it into the exchange wallet if they can, forcing people to sign up to the exchange. But nice that has now finally been unlocked. It's taken them a good few weeks. The other thing was I got an email from Crypto.com. So BlockFi did a similar type thing. You get like a monthly kind of update, and Crypto.com actually send a newsletter with a lot of this information, but you can link through to it on the blog where it has basically the same information. It gives you all the updates that have happened over August. So obviously it seems a long time ago now, but it was only August that we had the switch from MCO to CRO. So this was updated on the 4th of August, right at the beginning of August. But what was the 50 MCO card, which was the Ruby card, is now 1,000 CRO. The 500 is now 10,000. The 5,000 is 100,000, and the 50,000, which is Obsidian Black, that was the largest one you could get, is now 1,000,000 CRO. There's various other information and news. I'll let you kind of like read through it if you want, but it has all the the new kind of coins they've listed. So Bank or Loopring, Ren, and Compound. If you missed those, there's new price pages, various different bits and pieces. The pay feature. They talk about the swap, the MCO swap, as well as other stuff like Australian bank transfers, app updates, and a little bit more. So a link to that will be in the description below as always. And finally, we have the a syndicate event. So the large BTC special event was completed a couple of days ago. Next week's will be Maker. Now I won't be actually participating in these because of the new requirements for the trading volume. I did the first 30 days worth of it, which took me up to and including this BTC special event, and I got about 6.5% of what I actually committed to it actually got back, which is a lot better than the normal, about 1.7 we're down to now. But Maker will be next week's syndicate event if you are staking your CRO on the exchange and you have the trading volumes required. So that's it for this week. Thanks very much for watching as always. If you can give me a thumbs up, that would be fantastic, or a like, anything like that, comments, anything like that, really help the Google YouTube algorithm find the kind of videos and help other people find the videos. But I hope you're all keeping well. Hopefully I'll see you on the next video, but until then, have a great day. Bye bye.